Hello YouTube. So I am going to go ahead and proceed with some of the first color additions to my Scum and Villainy Y-Wing set. What we've done is we've masked off the area that I wanted to paint after priming the whole ship white. So I'm going to just layer very thinly some Prussian blue hue. I'm using an acrylic liquid medium, a fluid acrylic by Golden, which I will show you right now actually. There we are. So that's what I'm choosing to paint with. They make a very thin viscosity paint. My wife, who's a professional artist, she actually was the one who kind of discovered the medium first, and when my brother mentioned what color he had used to paint the original ship, it was definitely a common color that I've seen her pass by a few times in the store. So anyway, we're going to take a flat brush, and I'm just going to gently, very gently, wipe over in one direction. I see a little bit of pooling there at the tip, and that's alright. We'll just go in the opposite direction in a minute here. And the goal is to go thin. And experiencing this paint for the first time, I can tell you, yeah, you want to go as thin as possible. This is really, really dark and very almost opaque when you put it on, which is good, but it was definitely thicker than I expected. And yet the actual texture of the paint is very thin. Oh man, it lays beautifully. So I'm actually trying to use the brush to pick up some of that paint I just put down. So I'm drying my brush off. I'm coming back over it. Yeah, there we go. So if I drag the brush a little bit to sort of sop up the paint, I can get a little bit more of that color. I don't know if that color is coming through on the camera, but I'm going to pick it up a little bit. So I might not need to do more than one layer at a time with this thing.
Fluid acrylics are really opaque and very, very, very thin.
Yeah, see, that's what I like. Yeah, my wife Bianca just mentioned that the fluid acrylics are very opaque, but very thin and easy to paint with. So good paint. I mean, as far as models are concerned, this applied beautifully. The color that I want out of it is actually almost immediate from the first go. In fact, if anything, it was just a little too dark. So I should have been I should have backed up a little bit on it.
And it's shiny when it dries.
Yeah, look at that. And the camera might not be showing the detail in the light and the color, but trust me when I say that I can see a lot of highlights and shadows in the paint just as it is right now. Let's see if I can come off to the side and show you guys some of it. I have you under a 4x magnification with a fluorescent light. Just one of those desk lamps that you can find at Harbor Freight. Let me go ahead and turn this. I'll give you a little bit of that other angle there. You can kind of see the cockpit lines. And if you can't see them online, I can definitely see them here live. But so I haven't lost any of those subtleties. They're in there. They're still there. There's the back of the ship. I'm going to go ahead and give it a quick touch. But I have to move the lamp to do it. No, there we go. Boom. There we are.
Sorry.
You're fine. Yep, nope, got to move the lamp to do it. Well, that's it for today, YouTube. Here's the 10x magnification. Maybe you can see a little bit of that detail better. Yeah, not too bad. Alright, so I like this paint. I'll give you some better product after I move forward. Alright, here we are. I've actually removed the masking tape so you can kind of see the shape I was going for in the front. And to kind of detail, let me see if I can shift this around a little bit. Yeah, to kind of detail a little bit, you might be able to see, there it focuses, the outer edges will also have a blue rim. So it'll be like a blue center cockpit, white stripes, and then the blue outer edge, which I'll get to in another masking. But the color of the Prussian blue hue is exactly what I want. And a little note on painting a Y-wing in general. I love the hard edges in all the details. I don't know if it'll let me zoom in here. The paint falls right into place with most of those edges. I got had to act a little quick because of how fast the paint was drying, but I was overall pleased. Most of that was done freehand, and paint kind of went right where I wanted it. A little bit of touch-up still needs to be done the closer I get to the final product, but I'm sure that the no oil shade or wash that I'm going to put on it is going to help clean up some of those edges too. It'll just fall in place once the wash is put on. And of course, it's primer, paint, wash, and then dry brush, which is what we're going to be kind of going for in the final products. All right. So, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and continue on with painting the Most Wanted Scum and Villainy set from Fantasy Flight Games Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures. Where I last left off is we were working on the primer. We moved on to painting the base colors, and then it's now time for a wash. After the wash, we will dry brush, adding in some last minute details and things like that. Trying to get this to focus for you. Don't know if it will. No. Come on. Nope. Sorry, no focus for you right now. Anyway, but these are the Z95 headhunters, and we have, of course, the Y-wing as well. I've gone ahead and painted them the navy blue and white that my Fire Spray 31 is already painted to. So, anyway, we will start the wash. So here we are. This is going to be actually my first attempt using a Citadel paint, Null Oil, which is sort of a black. Choosing black instead of the Agrax Earthshade because the Agrax will give you a dirty look, which looks really cool on the pirate ships that the Most Wanted set kind of came originally painted in, but I'm departing into much more of a carbon scored, sort of starfighter sort of thing. So I'm going for black. So anyway, I have no idea what I'm doing, which is one of the reasons why I thought it'd be a good idea to make a video. I'm not trying to really showcase any super techniques. I'm just trying to show you that if you have an interest in painting these little models and really enjoy the game, just grab some basic stuff and get to it. Now, the shades here, these Citadel shades, are renowned in all the websites and videos that are already on YouTube and stuff like that. So those by no means are, I guess, basic, but I've painted a few models already and then chose to purchase some of these specialty paints just to see if they work as they are advertised, as they are intended. So anyway, so basically what, as far as I know, for making a wash, what you want to do is you want to load your brush and you're literally going to just sort of dab it on or rub it around. The idea is to let the wash settle into the areas, and then once it's settled, you can actually pick up all the color off of the surface. So you can go heavy to get into some of those finer cracks, but then you want to actually dab the brush dry and go back over it, which will wipe away some of that washed material. So this will pull a lot of those finer details out to the foreground and give the overall ship a sort of used or muddied look. Like I said, something that it's like a finer detail that really sets the model apart from just blocky base colors. When you start to have these shades or tints put on them, these different color washes, they really start to separate themselves from just your everyday look. What I'm noticing is even with this this Null Oil, all my whites are now turning kind of burnt gray, almost like the Null Oil has a bit of a red hue deep in the blacks. So there are some blacks that have more of a blue hue. This one does not seem to be that way. So I don't know if I have some good lighting right now. I'll move my light to give you a better look in a second. If you want the white to come back and pop out, that's where the dry brushing comes in. So in this case, what we're doing is just playing around with the shading, which will give us the deep crevices and cracks. We're going to go ahead and only do the top right now and then come back to do the bottom. So I'm just kind of putting some of the dark areas, letting it fall. The more you let it settle and sit into the crevices and cracks, the darker the cracks and crevices stay. So depending on how dirty you want your ship to look or how full you want the cracks and crevices to be, you want to apply the paint and then leave it. It will dry in those cracks and crevices, sometimes leaving too much shadowing, so be careful. But what's nice about most of these paints is they're water-based, so they are easy to undo or thin out or pick back up. You just get a little water on your brush, rinse and go. Now, I cut a brush. I might have shown this to you guys, so I'm going to arrange that light a little better. It looks a little better, I hope. I cut a brush to be kind of stubby. There you go. So when I cut that brush, what I can actually do is take this brush, and if I have an area that's just overly saturated with paint, I use the stubby brush to pick it all back up. So like this front part, I really kind of want the white to stand out, and I don't want to have to remask it when I dry brush it. So I just ran it over, and these decals here, I'm just going to run over it with the scrubby brush, and look, yeah, it pulls all the white back to the front, so we can let the detailing kind of shine through on the model. And then we're just gonna let that all dry for a minute. So that's the Y-wing. I think you can already tell that the brushing, the new oil, fell into the cracks really easily. From that faraway view, that landscape view, you could probably see real well how good it looked. Ah, damn, this camera doesn't want to focus. There we go. So yeah, you see a lot more detail all of a sudden. Might need another pass. We'll let it dry and we'll think on that for my overall desired look. So what I'm going to do now is go for one of the Z95s. So my Z95s have an asymmetric design, which you may have noticed if you're looking at them side by side. They're identical patterns, but they're on asymmetric sides. And the reason I did that is because I really want these, when I fly in a formation, to have an aesthetic of like these two little wings to their sort of tainted eagle squadron. So, and I thought it'd be a cool little challenge to try and mimic them, in a mirrored perspective. So anyway, we'll go ahead and grab some more of the oil, and we're gonna go ahead and try for some more washing. Boom. Here we go. Slight delay. Okay. I'm actually avoiding the decals that I did just for right now, just because of how well the black took to the white so quickly and graded up. I want the ships to look really gray, but I'm not necessarily wanting the decals to look too gray yet. Not yet. I'll maybe reconsider that in a second. What I can tell you from my experience with my own homemade wash and the wash that I bought here from Citadel is incredibly loose. It's very watery, and it moves right over the product, or the model itself. It just glides. And the pros to that are it really can find the fine details easily. Just drops right in. So like all these little nooks and crannies around the engines and everything just falls right in there and gets it really good. But I don't know. I'm sort of a fast painter. I like to kind of run with the color ideas and everything. So I kind of like a thicker paint so that I don't have to go over it again and again and again and again. I kind of like that I can just put the paint down and then move on to my next phase, rather than having to sit there, dry, let it dry, go through some dry time and go, oh, you know what, I'm going to definitely add more. So pros and cons. Maybe this is exactly what you want, and you know, patience is a virtue, as they say. So you do want to kind of let these paints settle and let you look at your handiwork and say, you know what, yep, time to add some more, versus actually going back there and kind of doing it with a one-shot kill. Anyway, so there's the detailing in the Z95. Anyway, I'm going to continue with the others, and we're going to add the detailing to both, and then eventually we'll be starting on some detail and dry brush. One particular detail will be these cockpits on the Z95s. I'm going to mimic with the electric blue honeycombing that my brother did on my original Firespray 31, so stay tuned.